Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Minnesota Rack Stars podcast. And today we're doing a little road trip again with some turkey talk. We're heading out to South Dakota to do a little turkey hunting, do a little prep for the upcoming deer season as well. We got a lot of projects we want to take care of, but we thought, hey, what the heck, let's get some turkey tags. And if we see some turkeys, let's try and shoot some. So we're heading out there, kind of discussing our strategy a little bit. We're talking about what's going on right now as far as politics goes with crossbows. A lot of good information in this one as far as just our thoughts on crossbows and our thoughts on hunting in general, and just good old-fashioned road trip turkey talk and deer hunting, all that good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get to the podcast. Hey, before we get started here, if you haven't already heard, we have started up our own apparel store online. So if you're looking to get some sweet Minnesota Rack Star apparel, some swag, you can check it out. It's on our Facebook page. We have the link on there. Also on our website, you can go and check that out. We have anything from hats, mugs, sweatpants, sweatshirts, t-shirts, you name it. It's pretty sweet. So hope you guys check it out, and let's get going with the podcast. All right, you guys ready for this?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's do this. Hey, welcome everyone to the Minnesota Rack Stars podcast here. We are on another turkey trip, and we've had a wild one so far, to be honest with you guys. Starting out, we saw a decent amount of birds already.
Yeah, we did, especially closer we got towards the South Dakota border, up on the foothills and stuff along the river there was a lot of turkeys. They're all strutting this morning. That was pretty cool. So
yeah, they're out in full force right now. I've been out listening in the mornings before school and driving to school. I'm taking different routes, back roads, to try to, get a good look at some of these birds and whatnot. But yeah, that's it's a fun time of year, and that's why we're heading to South Dakota right now. We're going on a little turkey hunt. This is what, year 3 for us?
Yes.
Coming out here?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it's year 3. And we haven't killed anything yet as far as turkey goes. I don't know. We might have killed some other stuff or had a chance at killing some other stuff during this time frame. But no turkeys, and feeling a little more optimistic this year. We each drew a shotgun tag, and I'm using Federal's TSS shot this year, which I'm excited. I went and shot it the other day at 40 yards because some intelligent individual who does a decent amount of turkey hunting with shotgun load and bow hunting, but he's really intelligent when it comes to shotgun or shot shells through Federal. He told me to shoot at 40 yards away and see where your pattern is, and I did that, and I got 3 BBs in the diamond, which is about 2-inch by 2-inch, and it's roughly the size of a turkey's head. So hopefully I'll get some BBs rolling here tomorrow. Tomorrow's the opener, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. But what are you guys using for weapons up there this weekend? By the way, I'm with Jerome and Dale again. If you guys didn't know, Uncle Jerome and Dale, we're doing this trip again. It's us 3. My brother-in-law bailed out on us because supposedly he had some other things he had to do that were more important. So thanks a lot, Mike, for bailing out on us. But what are you guys using?
I got a Benelli 12 gauge long.
And I got a Mossberg 20 gauge.
Okay.
Turkey gun.
You always use a 20 gauge drum?
Yep, it's my turkey gun.
Nice.
So, yep.
That's what I was talking to Josh about the other day too, and Mike, like what would be a good size gun for my girls to start, using here eventually, and kind of mentioned 20 gauge would be a good one. 410 would be decent too, right? Probably.
I've never shot a 410, so
okay.
I'm not too familiar with, that particular, size. But
sure.
I don't know. I won the Mossberg at a turkey banquet in Morrison County way back in the day, and I've always liked the gun, and that's what I use.
Nice. So yeah, we were running into a bunch of turkeys. Not so much for road rage. There wasn't a whole lot of road rage.
Not this time there wasn't, yeah.
No.
We're not getting flashed with the lights. We're driving a different truck. We're in Dale's beautiful Chevy here that tried to take out some pheasants.
Well, we did see a crash with that semi in the car.
We did. It was foggy out this morning. That's right.
That's why we weren't seeing birds around our place, because it was foggy. But, somebody ran into the side of a grain truck and
didn't look like the crash was too significant. Yeah, I mean, the front end was dinged up, but it looked like it hit the side of the trailer. Yeah, but didn't go underneath. Must have been driving slow enough where it hit, was able to stop. But hopefully everybody was okay. So we saw turkeys. We saw the aftermath of a crash, and then recently, Dale, what do we got going on here that we got to keep slowing down for?
We got some emergency vehicles coming the other direction as we saw the ditch was on fire, so they got a little grass fire going. So
and we
they were trying to
pretty stiff wind right now too.
Pretty stiff from the south, probably the southeast.
Yeah.
So it was blowing the flames pretty good. So some guys were out there trying with the shovels and such and trying to put it out, but they luckily they had called emergency. But it was probably, I would say, 20 minutes before we seen the emergency vehicles pass
we drove
us.
at least 20 miles and we started seeing fire trucks. So,
First thoughts, do we get out and help? And I looked and I'm like, there's no way these guys are stopping this thing.
Yep.
Well, we don't have shovels or any equipment either, so what do we do?
Right, exactly. The guys that were trying to put it out looked like they were pulling a trailer house or something.
Right. They were moving a trailer house. So I don't know if the brakes lit it up or not. I just think that they were just there at the right time.
Yeah, something was going on. But and then that wasn't even the first fire. There was another one we stopped and filled up with gas, and the sirens were going off, and the firefighters were leaving there. So kind of a dangerous time out here. What was that, last year when we were out deer hunting and all of a sudden that big cloud of smoke come over the top of us?
Yes.
And that was
there's
from
a
North Dakota, sunflower. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Sunflower
towards
field.
the North Dakota border.
Yeah. So kind of crazy start to the trip here, but hopefully things get better here and these fires kind of calm down a little bit. So as we're driving here, we started finding some stuff online that we could maybe talk about, and one of the things I thought was interesting right now, shifting gears, and it'll tie back into turkey hunting, but I see that Minnesota Bow Hunters president, I guess his president, is down at the Capitol speaking out against crossbows and the length of the season. And I just thought it was interesting that where all of our attention is going towards deer hunting when it comes to crossbows, and as it should. I mean, there's how many hunters throughout the state of Minnesota that hunt and put a lot of money towards it, and obviously there's concern there from a lot of people. But one thing we were talking about, and we weren't able to watch the whole presentation that he was given to the Capitol, but the one thing he brought up was when looking at numbers as far as deer harvest goes, you can't necessarily look at success rate and the number of deer killed the same. As far as they're claiming that the amount of success rate is the same, right? Isn't that what they're saying?
I think they were saying that the amount harvested was equal between the before crossbows and after crossbows. So last year's numbers were about the same.
About the same.
Yep. As far as number-wise killed.
But the problem is that, those numbers can be the same, but if you don't have the amount of deer to hunt, those numbers can still be the same, even though you're increasing the chances of deer being killed by more people being out there with a more higher powered weapon. And people will argue one way or the other, and I've shot a crossbow before and I've shot compound before, and there's obviously an advantage to crossbows, and people who want to argue it are just digging their feet in the ground and just being stubborn for the most part. But as far as my opinion goes on crossbows, I've stated this multiple times. I think people who are disabled and elderly should definitely have the right to do it. And when I say elderly, I'm just saying whatever age it was prior to legalizing it for everyone. That's that number.
60.
60. So there you go. So I
Can we change the word elderly though from?
I know, right? Dale, my bad. But
Ouch.
it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. Jerome, you kind of stated your thoughts on this a little bit before. Why don't you kind of tell everybody kind of your standpoint on it?
Well, what they're proposing, what they were saying is they should only be allowed starting with the rifle season and then continuing to the end of the year, right?
Right. Correct.
Okay.
A
Yep.
separate crossbow season.
Yeah. As I, right now I'm 55. As I approach the 60 mark, I don't quite feel elderly yet, but I do know that you get to start getting to our ages, and all of a sudden things don't work quite as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you feel like crap a lot more and everything like that. And so they should definitely leave it. And I know when I turn 60 in South Dakota here, you can use a crossbow. I'll probably bring it out here.
Yeah.
I will if it's a tool that I can use. I think the state did it in part because it's a money thing, and
it's working.
It's working. I mean, when the first year that crossbows came out, I think it was a very high percentage of the deer killed in the first few weeks of the archery season were by crossbows. And so it's, there's so many different opinions on it and stuff, but as I get older, I'm more open to it just because I know how my body feels and I know my, the level of ability changes a little bit, but I don't know. It would still be nice if you have it that the kids, probably learn on the compound bow first before a crossbow. So, but.
How about you, Dale? What's your thoughts?
Well, I know being elderly,
using that all weekend.
I'm going to give you
your elderly gentleman needs some help.
Yeah, go give me some water. I'm elderly or something.
Another fire truck coming.
Oh yeah.
So another fire truck. But this one's got the siren on.
Oh, they mean business
going through town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, things. I had to go down a little bit on my draw weight, just being older and such, and so it's working for me. I have never shot a crossbow, so haven't tried them out to see what they're like. But if it comes to that point sometime, I mean, I know there's quite an advantage with them. I mean, you can get reach out and touch somebody pretty quickly with from a yardage standpoint with a crossbow. So
and we kind of tied it in a little bit too with the advantage. We talked about live scopes with fishing,
right,
and how that's really. All of our panfish numbers are going down at what the limits are and stuff because I'm sure people are pounding it. And live scopes are certainly causing that. So that new technology is affecting our game and fish, whether you like to admit it or not, I think. And they really have to watch that. And I don't know. We'll see what the legislature, if they do something different or not. I don't know.
That's one thing, talking about live scope and whatnot. The one of my biggest pet peeves, and I don't know, it's kind of two-sided, I guess, when I see in big bold letters, and there is some degree in being proud of it, but at the same time you got to kind of be careful with it because when you read in the paper or see online record-breaking harvest. Another record-breaking harvest. Well, eventually here, one of these years, with another record-breaking harvest, and then all of a sudden you throw a tough winter in there, one of these years, things are going to break, and we're not going to have those high population numbers to go after, and which is going to make for a really tough hunt. So, having a record-breaking harvest isn't necessarily always going to be a good thing. Now, it's great that people are able to be successful, but eventually here, you're not going to be able to be that successful year in and year out because that resource eventually is going to be depleted because of continuously record numbers. So every time I see record-breaking harvest, it's kind of like cool. People were, successful, but at the same time, when is it going to hit that all of a sudden because of that record-breaking harvest? And then also on top of that, a bad winter, it's going to be, there's hardly any deer or hardly any turkey, which kind of brings me into my next point. Kind of going back the last 10 years, everybody keeps looking at deer hunting. I kind of pulled up the turkey harvest numbers, and in the last 10 years, and this is COVID included, when everybody was going out hunting and all this stuff, the success rate in the last 10 years for turkeys has been roughly 21 to 23%, somewhere in there, that 22% for the last 10 years consecutively, just right around that range. Now, last year, in 2024, when crossbows were legalized for everybody, and I'm not putting this all on crossbows, I'm just saying this was the year that crossbows were legalized for everyone throughout the entire season. Success rate went up to 28%. Now, you can say, well, there was a lot more birds, or maybe there was more hunters. In the last 10 years, they talked about, COVID year when everybody, really started hitting the woods, 2020, 2021. Those numbers were still around that 21, 22, 23%. And then all of a sudden this year, it goes up to, this past year in 2024, it goes up to 28% success rate. So obviously there's, in my mind, a correlation between what rules were passed and what laws were passed revolving around crossbows that helped those numbers. Would you guys agree on that?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what, the numbers are for this year. There's always those outliner possibilities, but if we're running at the 28 to 29, 30% again for 2025, then there's some correlation, that you can really sink your teeth into rather than, that 1 year of, it's just another indicator that would come down the pipe.
What about you, Jerome?
And it could be that Minnesota company, Federal, with their TSS improving on their ammo. I think, and I know the researchers there are working their butts off to make better products all the time. I think that might contribute to, in all seriousness, so that the technology a little bit too with the shotguns might help too. But crossbows definitely, if it's that much of a jump, I'm sure, because I'm sure they're using them for turkey too, and that gives you a little bit longer range too. So, it's because the shotgun has so much distance, but if you can still hit a turkey at 100 yards with a crossbow, that makes it a little different too compared to a shotgun. So I think it definitely has affected it, and I think they're seeing that crossbows are an effective tool, but they really got to watch it too, because we got plenty of birds right now, but you talk in the southern states, you listen to any of those podcasts, they're all worried about their bird numbers because they're dropping. Yep. And we don't want to see that in Minnesota. And, with bird flu, and we got all the turkey and chicken barns, and, which are a good thing. But with the diseases going around and stuff like that, you see a lot of turkeys out there, but they really got to watch that too, because all those southern turkey hunters, they're all, crapping their pants because the turkey numbers are so down when they're used to seeing so many of them. And so we don't want that to be part of Minnesota too, now that we got a nice established population. Yeah,
I was reading another fire truck.
Another one.
I was reading an article, and I didn't read the whole thing, so I could be taking this out of context to some degree. But one thing they attributed these numbers being so high at 28% because of the large amount of interest that turkey hunting has gained, and then also the mild winter that we had. Now, I don't know, you go back in the 10 years, I'm sure those numbers has fluctuated a little bit with the amount of hunters out there. And I've talked to other people about other hunts that they coordinate and whatnot, and usually it doesn't matter when you get to a certain number. The success rate usually stays pretty pretty similar year after year. But now all of a sudden there's a little tweak, and now all of a sudden obviously those numbers go up. In reality, in my mind, and it's my knowledge that, I mean, if you put, obviously if you overpopulate the woods with hunters, obviously the success rate isn't going to be that great. But I mean, there's a happy medium number there, I think, where, you know, it doesn't matter what that number is in between those numbers. The success rate is going to be the same. Yeah. But all of a sudden you start tweaking things a little bit, the success rate is going to go one way or the other. Whether you handcuff hunters and say you're not able to do this, well, the success rate is going to go down. You give them more of an advantage in some way, shape, or form, the success rate is going to go up. To me, in my mind, it's kind of common sense. Right. That's the way I kind of look at it.
It's not going to stay constant if you move things around.
But I think the biggest thing is when it comes to this, I'm not really looking at, you know, at it from a selfish standpoint. I'm looking at this as from a resource standpoint, and that's why I brought up, like, we have record-breaking harvest. I'm concerned about our herds, right, or the flock, like, or the fish, or whatever. With live scope, you know, I'd like to see numbers on fishing. Maybe there are numbers out there. I don't know how they keep track of that. I mean, probably when they do their netting and testing on fish numbers. But what's going to happen now with our fish population with the introduction here of live scopes? Are you guys familiar with live scopes? Have you guys fished with it before?
I personally haven't, but I know a lot of people that have them.
Dale?
I was up at Canada last year and 2 years ago. Well, there's another fire truck, and the guy that we were fishing with had one. I don't know if in that case, if it helped us or you know, at all. You know, when you're fishing walleye off the reefs or, you know, the rocks and so forth, you can see them down there. You still have to make them bite. Mm-hmm. But
knowing where they're at is a huge advantage,
different, right?
You know?
Huge advantage. I mean, I know that people are doing it with ice fishing, where you can cut a hole and, you know, then look and say, oh yeah, we got to put another hole about 60 yards over or 60 feet over this way. You know, that type of thing, which is a lot different because you would never see them.
And you got augers now that don't make so much noise and everything with the electric augers, and so
I was actually watching a fishing show the other day, and they were catching smallmouth bass, and they had their live scope going, and I mean, it's I don't do a whole lot of fishing, and I plan on doing more fishing here starting this summer, and right now, for me being a beginner, I'm not going live scope route. I'm gonna try to do my own thing, but I'm watching this fishing show, and they're using live scope, and he's helping his buddy net this huge smallie, and all of a sudden he looks on the live scope, he goes, oh, there's a big one over there, and quickly nets it and grabs his rod and casts over in the direction that the live scope is facing, and he ends up reeling in another big one. And to me,
boy, isn't that fun?
Yeah. Well, yes, it is fun.
No, I mean,
reeling
I'm
it
joking.
in.
It's just like,
but at the same time, like, where's the challenge? Like, and whatever, and people are starting to get a little upset with the muskies and people, you know, pulling fish out of deep water because they know they're there and they're fishing them. They pull them up, and then all of a sudden water temperature is different at the surface temp, and they throw them back in, and it's killing the fish. It's definitely something that's going to be talked about here, and people are going to argue one way or the other, especially people who are, you know, in it financially and make a living on doing this stuff. It'll be good to bring somebody on and talk a little bit more about this that has more knowledge, just to kind of hear their points of view. But it kind of all ties in how technology is evolving and has its place in the outdoors. And whether that's a good thing or bad thing, we're going to find out and hopefully make adjustments according to the health of our herd or flocks or whatever. And hopefully it doesn't get too bad too soon where we're not able to recover in some way, shape, or form. But it's just interesting topic that is going on right now. And it'll be interesting to follow along to see what comes of the Minnesota bow hunters, going down to the Capitol and speaking out about the crossbow regulations that we have currently in the state here in Minnesota. I know other states that have had crossbows implemented for quite some time. There's not too many good things to be said about it from those people that you hear. The people that are for it, you don't hear those people as much until you put out a podcast like this, and all of a sudden people start hating on you and
oh, great.
are speaking out against us. But I don't know. I'm looking out for the herd, and hopefully, like I said, it stays in check, and we make the right decisions based on that. Now, getting back to our trip here, this is kind of going to be a two-part, one podcast instead of doing two separate. We're just going to lump it all in together here. So we're just on our way out. We're going to get to camp, and we're going to get set up, get settled in, and then we're going to go out and try to roost some birds tonight.
Yep.
And hopefully in the morning we'll be letting some bullets fly, not arrows, bullets. I thought about bringing the bow, but I got a gun tag, so we're going for it. What's your thoughts coming into this year as far as the intel that we have on the amount of birds out here, guys?
Well, I had we moved a ladder stand last fall until I quit getting the photographs every day. Had a lot of birds on the south end of the property, of the main property that we hunt on,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm hoping that that's where I'm going to kind of watch tonight to see if I can find any birds, because I know they're down there, and we know that they roost on the neighbor's place too, and I'm thinking, well, maybe we just never noticed them because we never looked that far down onto the property where we were at, and so I'm hoping that on the south end of the main chunk that we hunt that I'll find some birds and maybe set up on one and get the decoys out and the call, and you never know what happens. I mean, the way the birds are strutting right now, it's crazy. So hopefully it wouldn't be too tough to call one in once you get a chance to locate them.
What about you, Dale?
Yeah, just waiting to see what's out there. I know that we had some intel from the rancher and showed some pictures of some birds in the area. So, hopefully they're hanging around and bringing their friends.
I might run up north with your truck here, Dale, and go scout that other property that we got permission on and see if there's anything out there. And that way we kind of have plan A, plan B, and plan C. It's basically going to be a day and a morning hunt out here, I think, is going to be our plan.
You know how with work schedules and everything, it is a really quick hunt. And so you got to try to maximize what we have, and so.
It is, what is today? April what? I don't have my phone on me.
It should be the 11th today.
11th. The opener's the 12th.
And on the truck right now, it is 78 degrees. We are getting close to our destination, western South Dakota, with probably 25, 30 mile an hour winds, I think is what we have right now. Tomorrow's supposed to be 73, so a little cooler. The one thing we talked about was being it's so warm out right now, we might see some snakes on the road, and I mean, we're just obviously, if we saw one, right? I told Dale, I said if we see one, we'll take out my 9mm, we'll shoot it on the road, and then we'll chop the tail off and go, right?
He's talking rattlers, of course, not garter snakes. So,
I missed the part where you were going to take it out and shoot it on the road.
Yeah.
No, we're right on the highway here. No.
The land of freedom out here in South Dakota, so I'm just saying.
I shot my 9 for the first time this last weekend, and my cousin was helping me a little bit. This is the first time I've shot a pistol before, and I was about 25 yards away from the target. And looking back, I wish I would have shot it at the paper target, but I was shooting at his metal plates that he's got, and I shot 4 rounds, and I think I hit on the last round. Then I shot 4 more, and I was hitting 1 out of 4, so I'm about 25% right now at 25 yards. And I don't know if there was a snake on the road if I'd be able to even sniff hitting it. I don't think I'd be able to hit it right now.
Got a better kill percentage with the crossbow at 28.
Yeah, right. Bang. Yeah, so we know there's some birds out here. I know, what was it, last year we saw some birds when we were driving up to that north property along the river there, and we tried getting permission on that, but supposedly they had somebody else coming out there. But
that's right.
You know, there's decent amount of turkeys out here. I mean, not like back at before we crossed the border here, where they were every 3 miles strutting in large groups. But there's enough turkeys out here to try to make a little trip out of it. But like you said, Jerome, we usually come out here and check our stands, make sure our stands are all set up. We get our cameras going. We run solar panels with our Tacticams. That way we can set those guys up right now and come back out in August is when we kind of check them, and then we turn them on to cell mode is what we've done in the past.
Yep, and start our scouting for fall.
Yep, exactly. And then, you know, we kind of can see, you know, from the growing period here from, you know, June, July, August, you know, you can start to tell what these deer are developing into. And then we flip them on to cell mode to kind of start seeing what's going on, kind of scratch the itch a little bit with getting trail camera pictures. But, yeah, that's kind of our plan when we come out here, too. It's not just for the turkeys. It's coming out here and getting all that stuff set, and also just visiting with the folks out here. Really good people, are they not?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, even just like we got relatives and friends out in eastern Montana, too, and the people out here are so friendly and kind. And they're just good people out here. They really are.
Yeah.
And, you know, we come bringing them some gifts.
Bearing gifts.
Back. Yep. And
gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Yeah,
we bring it
that's
every
right.
time.
You know, every time, and they love it, and so that's why we keep bringing it out here. But we take care of our guys, and they certainly take care of it back to us. And we're very fortunate that we have access to some really nice private land.
Yeah.
You know, and not everyone has that. So we're very fortunate, and so we want to take care of our people, and that's always a good thing. And every time we come out here, we come bearing gifts because we're very thankful for the opportunities they give us.
This is just a quick shout out to Thielen Meats. We always bring bacon out here for these guys, and obviously there's a lot of beef out here being they're ranchers, but we bring some pork, we bring some bacon, and for some reason they seem to like that quite a bit.
Yeah, they never turn down the bacon. They've always keep bringing it.
Have you ever seen anybody turn down bacon though?
Right.
Yeah, true. So,
just a side note here, as I look over to this pasture over here, there's a bunch of Angus. It was back when we were farming. Oh, I got to bring up two things. I need to bring up both of these things here, okay? So I'm going to bring up two hunt stories, and I don't want to forget, so I'm writing it down. But I remember milking with Marty, right? And you know, you're sitting there trying to get the cattle in, and all of a sudden you got one cow jumping on top of the other one. And my Uncle Marty goes, can you imagine if we were like animals? We're like, you know, just all of a sudden people just start jumping on top of each other. Like you're sitting there going up for communion, then all of a sudden Betty jumps on top of, you know, Cindy going up for communion because, you know, she's in heat or something like that. As we're driving, I saw an Angus jump on the other one. It just sparked that memory.
there you go.
But another thing I thought of was I got a trail camera picture of this bobcat coming in this past winter, and it gets to a spot on the camera and it stops and takes a leak or takes a dump right in that spot. And then like 4 hours later, a coyote comes through and boom, he smells that, goes right to that spot and takes a leak right in that same spot.
Really?
And yeah, it's just like that form of communication where I was thinking, man, if we were like animals, could you imagine that? Oh, Jerome, take a piss here. And oh, Jerome was here. I'm going to piss here too. I was here too, you know. You don't use text messaging and say, hey, I'm over here. You just piss, and all of a sudden people walk by and you start smelling where they're at.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close down this podcast with this story here. This popped into my head last night as I was making these awesome treats for us on this road. Some of you know, some of you don't know, but one of my hidden talents is baking. I bake. A lot of people probably don't believe me right now because a lot of my students at school, I tell them my second major was going to be art, and I told them I was going to be an artist if I didn't make it in physical education. And and then I start drawing up on the board, and my human looks like E.T., and it's just brutal. So when I say this, I'm serious. I'm a fairly decent baker. So I made these cookies for today. However, the second dozen that I made turned out really black. So those went straight in the garbage. But the rest of them are pretty good. Would you not agree, Jerome, Dale?
I would agree. Very good.
All right, good. So then I also made some jerky. So as last night, as I'm preparing this stuff, it dawned on me. I thought to myself, Grandpa and Grandma used to have turkeys that roamed their yard all the time. They were semi-wild that turned tame. Was that not correct, Jerome?
The neighbors bought them and released them, and they ended up coming to our house.
So
and they roosted right next to the house, believe it or not.
So on one of the other podcasts, my sister Sarah and I were talking about that, and then I remembered there were times my grandpa would butcher these turkeys. And he didn't butcher them himself. He brought them in to get butchered. So how he ended up taking down these turkeys is absolutely amazing in my mind. What he would do is he would kind of herd the turkeys into the Quonset. And he would shut the doors. And there's no windows in there. So it was dark. And he would go in and he would grab the turkeys by hand and tie their feet.
There's some antelope.
Yep, there's some antelope there. He would tie their feet up and throw them in a gunny sack, tie the gunny sack shut, and bring them in to get butchered. So he would go in there and wrestle them down, grab their legs, tie their legs up, and throw them in a gunny sack, tie them up, throw them in the back of the truck or whatever, haul them in to get butchered. And we're out here trying to get him with a gun, and we can't even do that. Yep. He herds them up and wrestles them down by hand.
We just have to tell the landowner to build more Quonset.
I was going to say the same thing. We're going to bring a shed along with.
There, you know?
Well, in the fall, I think it'd be easy to do that out here. Those things. It's crazy out here that in the fall, I mean, obviously these birds have their home range in the spring, summer, fall, winter, and you see it. I'm seeing it more and more all the time too, but out here in the fall, I mean, there are turkeys everywhere in the yard out here. And throughout the winter, I'm sure they're in here all the time. And then you come out here in the spring, it's like
crickets.
They don't exist.
Nope,
it's amazing. But I'm sure every one of you guys have a story similar to that where you see birds and then all of a sudden you try hunting them or a deer or whatever it is. Oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden it's a whole different story. But we're looking forward to this hunt. We just saw some antelope. We're seeing more fire trucks. It looks like we have about 16 minutes to our destination, then a little bit further after that. But we're excited. We're going to come back with you guys here and kind of give you the update on how this hunt goes and hopefully have some success stories for you. So
still haven't seen that damn comet yet, though, either. So we're still looking for that comet.
We're working on that app, Jerome. We're still developing the app for the comet.
To help get your deer in the fall.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yep. Anyway.
All right, guys. With that, we'll cut you guys loose here, and we'll catch back up with you after the hunt here this weekend. Well, we are in the truck heading home. We have roughly about 3 hours left of our drive home. We're on the border here, aren't we? Isn't this kind of the border? Minnesota, South Dakota border?
Yep.
Pretty close.
So we're I-29 heading northbound right into a stiff wind. She's booking today, isn't she, Dale?
She is. I don't know, 30, almost lost the door at the last gas stop.
Yeah, it definitely is blowing.
Yeah, we got about I don't know, it's a wind warning, I think is what they're calling it.
High wind advisory warning, whatever.
Advisory warning, yeah. But yeah, she's giving us good gas mileage for the most part. Once we turn east here again, we'll be getting good gas mileage. But right now we're sucking some fuel. But yeah, we just wanted to check back in with you guys, let you know how the hunt went. And unfortunately, no birds were shot. Things were shot at. Still up for debate if these things that were shot at were actually hit or not. It's going to be up for our viewers to decide on social media. They're kind of going back and forth on it, but we thought we might have had a blood trail on it, but we'll get to that part of the story here in a little while. But yeah, we kind of got out to our destination and had to take care of some, I don't know, chores once we got out there. We wanted to kind of check our trail cameras, see if we had any birds on camera, but we've left our Tacticam trail cameras going throughout the off season here. And Jerome, we had some good picks down by your stand, didn't we?
Absolutely. The deer that survived, very, very nice deer, and I'm excited about next fall's deer hunting already, because the deer that came through were very good, and not that many were shot in that particular area, and they're going to be back.
You kind of enjoyed that video mode on that Tacticam, don't you?
That is a cool feature, and the quality of the it's got both audio and video, but the HD and everything was cool. And there was a couple of bucks that were fighting one day, and you could just hear the racks of the horns going back and forth and everything, and that was pretty neat. And it's just it's a nice feature, and it's a nice scouting thing. But it was really nice to know that, January, February, even into March, they still had antlers on, and there were nice deer coming through. So there'll be plenty of opportunity next fall.
As we're going through those trail camera photos, like you said, in March here, was it the 23rd, I think it was, that buck had his antlers on yet?
Yeah, still had it at the end of March.
And
that's only a couple of weeks ago.
And I think we ended up picking up his antlers, or one of them anyways. But we ended up, when we were driving around, going to check trail cameras and also looking for turkeys at the same time, we ended up picking up a couple sheds that we saw kind of laying right off the trail, and we were wondering why the landowners hadn't already picked them up, but I think it was because that buck just dropped them here recently, within the last week or two. So that's probably one of the reasons why they didn't pick him up. But yeah, I think he was a 9-pointer or something. That was good buck. He'll be a really good one this next year here. And so it was cool kind of finding those sheds. Even though we didn't see any turkeys that first night, we were able to look at some sweet trail camera photos of some really good bucks. Also, I got to watch the video of a couple hunters driving away with one of the bucks that we had on trail camera.
That they shot during the regular season.
Yeah, they kind of drove by and kind of were giggling to a certain degree because they saw the trail camera, like, oh, let's just go drive in front of the trail camera with the deer in the back. But I'm pretty sure it was a 6-pointer, straight up 6, 3 on each side, but a really nice one. Just a big forked whitetail buck with brow tines, and he was a pretty good deer. We got some video of him making some scrapes, and yeah, he's got a big body on him. He's definitely a mature deer. It's just one of those deer that was probably only going to get 6 points on him, and he's definitely a trophy. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
I'll tell you what, getting back to the Tacticam, those solar panels, that's the cat's meow, because 100% battery life yet, or power source, and it was taking photos all the way up to the point that we pulled the SD card out. So, I mean, those solar panels do work for those trail cam situations. Yeah,
if you want to run your camera on video mode, I highly recommend just getting a solar panel. And the thing is, like you talked about, Jerome, each year just building up, right? So last year you bought a Tacticam and a solar panel, and I mean, it costs a decent amount of money, but 1 year budget for it, and then next year budget for another one, and you're able to build that up. You can't just go out there and buy 10 Tacticam. Well, some people can, but the average Joe can't. But yeah, just grab one a year, and like I said, I highly recommend getting a solar panel, and make sure you do what you're supposed to do with those solar panels too. You're supposed to leave those charged for at least 24 hours outside. Otherwise, that battery doesn't get a full charge, and it's working on half charge, and probably isn't the greatest thing for it. But I had some issues with mine, and I think one of the issues might have been that I didn't leave it charged for the full 24 hours before putting it out. And then I think, being that it's drawn juice, it just never had a chance to get fully charged before, getting hooked up to the camera. So I actually swapped out one of my cameras from back at home. I'm going to take this one here back and kind of investigate it a little bit and see what's going on. But yeah, it's really fun looking at those trail cameras. Dale, you were even talking about maybe even purchasing one, huh?
Yeah, talking about it, thinking about it, because I had a couple of things on my back home, trail cameras, just pictures and so forth. It's nice to. And there was a couple of bucks fighting, that type of thing. Actually, there was one time where there was 4 or 5 of them that were kind of waiting for the next one up type of thing. And it would have been nice to have video of it.
it's addicting. It's
Yeah, it is.
addicting.
Well, especially when you got on that cell phone mode where it sends pictures back to you twice a day. You can't wait for that time to come
Right.
and to see it. And it is a neat tool. It's a nice scouting tool, and it's nice to know that those animals are still coming past your stand when you don't see. Some days you don't see them, but you know they're still coming through. So
I think Tactacam, in my mind, probably has the best quality for the price, that they're listed at. You get some of these other cameras, you're spending $300-$400 for a camera that's essentially giving you the same thing. Yeah, maybe their quality might be a little better. Well, whoop-de-doo. I mean, the biggest thing is just kind of knowing what deer are out on the property. Yeah, it's fun getting those videos, but just kind of getting that intel is probably more important. But yeah, we were kind of having fun looking at those videos. I had a tough time going to sleep that night. I just wanted to keep going through them. I mean, there was over 1,900, pictures on there, and kind of get addicted to continue to look at it. But yeah, after we kind of did that, looked at the cameras, and we kind of looked at a stand we wanted to move and whatnot, we decided to head into town for a little bit of grub. And there's a big event going on the TV, wasn't there, boys?
There was.
yeah, the American Rodeo. That was
On the big screen in the bar.
The big screen in the bar, and when you're in South Dakota, that's like watching the Super Bowl dang near, So they are very much into their rodeos out there. Really good people, and they were enjoying it. It was fun watching it.
It was pretty packed. We had a tough time finding a seat. Jerome had to stand for a while until Dale went and stole a chair from a cowboy. But yeah, it was good. Good food, good service.
On prom night to boot.
On prom night, well, the kids were out doing their thing. The parents were doing their thing as well, I think.
Having a nice supper and maybe a toddy or two.
Yep, exactly. So we were, we weren't extremely optimistic for the next morning getting up and going hunting, but we got up, before the sun came up, and we kind of split up this time. I kind of headed north. Dale kind of checked things out around the ranch, and Jerome went south, and it was pretty quiet on your end, wasn't it, Jerome?
Yeah, there was geese, ducks of all sorts, coyotes and everything else, but not a single turkey seen or heard. And they just weren't on the property yet. We were talking that maybe next time we're going to have to adjust our time that we come out there. It was convenient to come out now for all of our schedules, but it's the birds aren't on the property yet that we can hunt, and we might have to give that some more time. But there was just no activity whatsoever. You could call all day, and try to decoy them, and you couldn't. There was nothing on my end down south.
Dale, same with you.
Yeah, right in the middle there was nothing going on. A couple of geese, pheasants, coyotes out yelling in the background, but nothing that looked like something that resembled anything like a turkey. So,
yeah, I decided to go north and go for a little hike, and just try to further the distance to see if I could hear something. And a couple times I thought I heard something, but that was one thing I kind of wanted to mention on this podcast that kind of gets overlooked is the art of hearing turkeys. And I don't know if it's so much an art or just how well your hearing is. Because I've been with my brother-in-law turkey hunting a decent amount of times, and he'll say, "Did you hear that? I heard one." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't hear a thing." And all of a sudden, I start paying attention. I pay attention a little more, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, now I can hear it. So I don't know if there's an art to it, or your hearing is just better, and mine's worse, or what. But I think you kind of develop an ear for it as well. But I'm trying to listen for them, but just I don't know. I don't think I'm really good. I don't have that ear for it yet, like some people do. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, you guys? You think you develop it, or do you think you lose hearing as time goes on?
Well, you do lose some hearing. I mean, that's natural. But just like when I go goose hunting.
Yep.
I haven't been a hard hitting goose hunter for a while now, but I can still hear geese off in the distance, and all of a sudden you just kind of turn your head and you hear it, and you do get kind of zoned in, to it. And unfortunately, I just never had a chance to hear it because there weren't any turkeys.
Right. It's to me, in a way, it's kind of like, when you have kids, you can hear their voice over anything else, You know, it's like, oh, my kid. And they're like, what? You know, you with a random or the neighbor or something, and they don't hear it, but you hear it. So I don't know if there's something to say, you know, that goes with that or not. But I decided to head north to try to further the distance and hear something. And I thought I heard a couple, but I didn't end up seeing anything at all. But I kind of did some investigating on where I have a stand, and I wanted to make some adjustments based off the intel that I ended up getting last year and the year before regarding where the deer were coming through and where my stand was. Because this last year, if you guys watched the video that I put out, I had deer around me, and they were just too far out of range. So what we did is we kind of went further down the bottleneck and moved my stand to a spot where I'm going to have about a 20 to 25, 30-yard shot on my left and about a 25-yard shot roughly on the right. So we're kind of downsizing things a little bit to hopefully get me a better shot, or whoever sits in that stand a closer shot at a deer. But so I was kind of investigating that, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk back towards Dale and just kind of walking glass and also look for deer sign, because we haven't really explored everything out there yet. There's just so much property out there that it's almost impossible to really get things taken care of and scouted and whatnot in 2 years. You know, there's properties that I hunt that I'm still trying to figure out, and I've hunted them for 6-7 years. So I just kind of was walking around and trying to learn the land a little more yet. And all of a sudden I bumped a few deer and started working my way back, and all of a sudden I heard this turkey call. And here it was Dale. I knew it was Dale calling right away. But I started walking his direction, and then we met up and we started walking back towards the farm, and we were sitting there BSing. And as we're sitting there talking and walking back, I ended up looking down on the ground, and I did a double take, and I'm like, holy buckets. And then we're walking right on the side-by-side trail. And I took a few more steps, and I stopped, and I turned on the GoPro, and I said, Dale, what do you think I'm going to say?
Yeah.
And Dale,
I'm like, no clue.
No clue what you're going to say, man. You never know. And I turned around, and I said, I just found my second smallest shed ever. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, it's a little bouncy, but right here is the shed that I found on the ground. I would say it's all of two inches, but if you measure from the base and not the bottom of where like the pedicle is, from the base up, you're looking at 1 3/4 inches probably, somewhere around there. But yeah, pretty cool. Just ended up finding this little small shed, and I just shared that video that I found my smallest shed a week or two ago on TikTok. So now I have 2 sheds that are probably combined 3 inches or so. A little bit of a bump there.
Yeah,
Sorry about that. I was trying to straddle them, and there was too many.
Yeah. Roberts County, you need to improve your roads a little bit. Just saying.
Right.
Just saying.
Jerome ended up going in the front seat again like he did on the side-by-side.
Yeah, right.
A little more comfortable this time.
Yeah, we took it a little different side-by-side this time. We're going around, and everybody's a little more safe this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, found that shed. Pretty pumped about it. But yeah, I put on some good miles, and my body's feeling a little sore today, and even last night. Even my shoulders. I was telling you, my shoulders hurt. Dale just said to give me some more ibuprofen, but just carrying my tripod and shotgun and everything else, my backpack, shoulders were getting a little sore. This is the first like real exercise that I've really gotten, since before my back surgery. So we were all feeling a little sore after this weekend. But yeah, we ended up going out the day after our morning hunt, moved that stand, And then on our way back to the house on the side-by-side, Dale and I, we both kind of spotted something off to the left at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah, there was a little grove of trees and kind of a, I don't know what you want to call it. It's kind of
On the edge of a creek.
on the edge of the creek there where the creek kind of takes a bend and a couple of things sticking up. And it's like, oh, that doesn't look like a tree. So,
Yeah, I pulled up binoculars, and all of a sudden I saw what I thought were 2 heads of a turkey, and then all of a sudden one went down, and I'm like, yep, that's a turkey. So we got back to the house and kind of got unloaded quick and got ready and kind of went back around them on the back side of them, and I messed up. I didn't know there was 3 groves of trees. I thought there was just 2, so I stopped at the first one, and these guys were wondering what the hell I'm doing because there were 2 groves out yet. But we did a little calling and whatnot, and didn't have any success, but we walked over to where they were, and there were turkey feathers
look at the deer.
laying around. Oh, yeah, there's 2,
Oh, yeah.
3, another
3.
one coming.
Goodness gracious.
Drive fast and see if another one comes
One
down.
more.
There they are, right there.
Drive faster, yeah.
Getting pushed out.
The wind's blowing them.
Yeah.
They're going with the wind.
So I lost my train of thought. I don't even know what I was talking about. Talking too much.
Well, you
after
you
those
found-
turkeys, yeah.
you
So we found the
you found
feathers.
feathers and signs that they were there.
So we weren't seeing things. We definitely weren't seeing things. They were there, and obviously we didn't get a shot at them. So we decided to head up to a different permission property, do some glassing. Didn't see much for turkeys,
Nope.
but we saw a lot of cattle. And when we decided to leave, driving out, we ended up seeing a flock of birds. Jerome, you want to explain?
It was a nice group, and there were some toms that were fanned out and everything. Unfortunately, it was on private land that we didn't know the people at all, and it was right next to some state land, but they weren't on the state land, and it would have been tough. It was wide open. We would have had to have gone through a pack of mule deer that were staring at us, and it is amazing how mule deer just know that it's not the season to hunt them because they just sit right next to the road and look at you, not worried. But in the fall, they're gone. They're gone. And you see that's when you see all the turkeys in the fall. But anyway, it would have been pretty tough for us to get up there. That would have been a long hike and a crawl or whatever you want to do to get to them, and they were on private property anyway. But it was a nice group of birds. It was nice to see some birds because we really weren't seeing much, and so that was okay. But it's just one of them things where it's it's nice having the onyx to see who owns this property, but
Right.
unfortunately it was private and we couldn't do anything with it anyway.
It was nice. It's nice just seeing them to know that they exist out there, because
When you see them on the camera and then you go out there and they're not there, where'd they go?
Yeah, so it was cool seeing them, and yep, that's what I've been looking for. My eyes just aren't failing me, and I'm not seeing things. I mean, we all saw them, and it's like, okay, we're confident that we know what a bird looks like, and we're not just blind up here.
And the one place that we were at, they had a black cat, and I don't know, I spotted that thing how many times thinking is that a turkey? What is that? Oh, it's a cat. The damn cat again. So, but so you do notice them, that color of this time of year when everything's gray, you see something really dark and black. It's like, but
Yeah, that flock that we saw, there was 2 to 3 toms with it in there. I think they were fanning out.
absolutely, yeah, it was fun to see.
So yeah, we saw those guys, and we figured it's time to head back. It was getting dark. We kind of did one last final glass over the property when we pulled back into the ranch, and didn't see anything. And we decided to get cleaned up and head into town and have a little steak dinner and call it a wrap, because this morning we got up. The wind was whipping pretty darn hard, and we wanted to get on the road, get back at a decent time to get ready for the work week ahead of us. But what also is ahead of us is the Minnesota opener coming up this week. Any plans, you guys, for the opener?
Not probably this week, but a lot of it is, I with the truck driving and stuff, we're kind of busy trying to get loads in this week. But I got access, one property for sure I got access from a friend. Another one, my brother said that he's starting to see turkeys on our family property, or his family's property. and then at our local sportsman's club. And the reason why you should be part of a sportsman's club, you can talk to other people. I got another lead on where there's normally birds too. So it all really depends. But I'm going to get a shotgun permit. I won't do archery, but I'll do shotgun. And so you got to pick 1 week, and I'll kind of, what's the weather going to be like? What are the winds going to be like? Is there going to be a lot of rain and all that? And then do some scouting. And the one thing we don't have, again, in South Dakota where we're at, is plowed fields or open fields where the turkey strut. You know, we don't have that. And back at home, fortunately, we do. And so you can kind of key on that a little bit better. So I'm looking forward to it. Turkey hunting is always a blast in the spring. And, you know, and when you can get one to come in from a half mile away and it keeps gobbling at you coming in, and you bag it, that's a pretty fun feeling to have.
When do you typically? What season do you typically go, Jerome? Is there any particular season, or do you just
a lot of times it's either B or C.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you seen? I don't know, a difference with the seasons? What seasons might be a little better for you? Have you had some more success in a particular season?
Well, the later you go, you don't have a chance of snow, and it's a little bit warmer, a little more comfortable, and they just seem to be, to me, B and C, they just seem to be really doing a lot of gobbling and are searching and stuff. So it's I don't have a lot of luck in once you get in the latter part of May or any of that. I've really never had much luck at all. So if you can get towards the end of April, that's probably for me, that's been when I shot most of my turkeys.
Yeah, B and C seems like kind of a safe bet as far as weather goes. The other thing that I don't know always gets me that later season is the bugs. Once the bugs start coming out, you got to deal with wood ticks, you got to deal with mosquitoes, gnats, all that stuff. So yeah, I typically like to try to get out as soon as possible. I've only hunted in Minnesota with my bow. This year I might go with the shotgun. Try to use one of those TSS loads there that I bought about 4 years ago, and have only burned up probably 2 shells out of there. But yeah, so I might go with the shotgun this year, but then it's just deciding which season to go. But I do love the bow option, just because, you know, with my schedule with lawns coming up, I can kind of pick and choose, you know, when I can go, and just kind of have that entire season. However, it is a lot more difficult to harvest a deer or a turkey with the bow. And I started out, I was very fortunate right away. Obviously, I think I ended up taking out my first 4 years with the bow, but the last couple of years I've been in a little bit of a drought. So hopefully luck will change here in the near future, and I'll be able to
get that crossbow.
Get one on the ground. Yeah.
Get that crossbow.
Probably not. But Dale, what's your plan this year?
Yeah, I'm not going this week. You know, opener and such. Got some other stuff going on, but try to get there. Like the Jerome was saying, you guys were saying, it was B and C. Try that again, and then you always got that last week in May or whatever it is.
The failure season.
The failure season, season F.
If you failed so far, you can get one season F. But,
so we'll see.
You know, and I'm glad Minnesota kind of switched it. It used to be back when I first started turkey hunting, you had to apply for a season.
Yep.
And that was a crapshoot because you could still have a ton of snow on the ground. It could be awful weather and all that stuff. And at least now you can buy it over the counter and you can, okay, the weather is going to be great. And it coincides with my days off. This weekend I can go hunt. It'll be good. Fine, you know, but if you got, you know, high winds or a lot of rain and stuff, that makes it a little, for me at least, a little more harder to hear the birds or for them to hear you calling and all that. I like the fact that we can kind of choose when we can go versus having to apply and that, because that was miserable. You get that, I got drawn for A, great, and then all of a sudden you still got a foot of snow on the ground yet, or a blizzard comes through, or just really crappy weather, and that sucked. It really did.
Yeah, and that's obviously the reason why there was a huge increase in success rate was because of that, right, Jerome? Isn't that why? There's those turkeys again. We're on that stretch where we saw all those turkeys on the way out. Yeah, right here's more.
Yep.
There's 3 hens. I just saw 3 strutters, and there's an eagle looking to murder them. So
It's all good.
Yeah.
this is
Right
true.
as we pass into the Minnesota border.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. We're on the east side of Lake Traverse. So.
And then once Minnesota opens, they'll head back over to South Dakota side.
Yep. And if you have any cousins that own any farmland around Lake Traverse, I would certainly call them and say, hey, on these nice bluffs going up from the road, can I do a little turkey hunting?
There's a lot of people that are frustrated right now, Jerome, listening to this.
Yep. Just saying.
You're giving away our hot spot.
Well, we can't hunt out here anyway, so carte blanche, come on out.
Yep, there you go.
We
There
don't
you
know
go.
anybody here. But
Dale, you got a pretty good spot for turkey hunting. What's going to be your strategy this year going into it? Because you haven't gotten one yet, have you?
I have not.
No, but you got a good spot out there. What's your strategy this year? Going to be switching some things up, or what's your thoughts?
I haven't really thought about it. I wanted to get past this week, but, we'll see. I will probably, I usually put up a ground blind near my deer stand and, try that. I have only had one single turkey on the camera a couple of times. So there may be more. It's just that the one showed up. So we'll see what happens. But like last year, I think there was probably 20 of them out there with 5 toms, strutting at the same time. So we'll see. I haven't thought of if I'm, put the ground blind up and see and go from there, or do like we did. Well, when you get a little in Minnesota, you get the wood ticks to deal with too. So I don't want, snuggle up to a tree and get some other friends with you.
I think, that season B would probably be best. But I've hunted that spot before, and that's a spot that I've hunted in the morning in a different spot, and then I've just been driving around like, okay, I'm going to try this spot here, and I've hopped out of the truck, walked into the woods a little bit, called, and got an immediate response. So I think that spot there is not just a morning, and evening roost spot. They kind of work that area throughout the day.
Well, I know I've been, out there, and they roost right by my food plot that we've got out there for the fall deer, and so they kind of like that area. It's nice and sheltered in the middle of woods. Mm-hmm. So
no, it's a good spot. I know there's a lot of birds around. I think a lot of people are excited for the opener here, and as they should be. When you got a lot of game to go after, it's fun, and it's a great opportunity to get back out in the woods, get the kids out. I know I just bought my daughter youth small Arctic Shield full camouflage bibs that she's extremely excited about. I was tricking her that I bought a present for Kaylee, my wife, and I waited for my wife to get home to open it up, and I said, shoot, it's too small for you, Kaylee. What are we going to do with this? And my daughter Harper was quickly to say, I'll take it. I'll wear it. That'll be mine. I said, it's for you. I'm kidding. You're going to come hunt with me. And she's pretty excited, so kind of teaching her the ropes a little bit with the calling. And there's a big one. Big Tom, and 2 Toms.
2 Toms,
teach her some calling and getting her to figure it out. I got her, playing around with the box call right now, and she's getting excited, as am I, and probably all the rest of the turkey hunters out there. So good luck to you, ladies and gentlemen out there who are going to be hitting the woods here this week, and hopefully you guys have some success. And if you don't have success with harvesting anything, hopefully you just have a good time getting back out in the woods and enjoying Mother Nature. So I think we're going to wrap it up, gentlemen, unless you got anything else to mention.
It's still a good trip. I'm really excited about some new opportunities for deer hunting this fall. Yep. And, part of going out here, too, is kind of doing some scouting and some planning for the fall season for deer. And I'm excited. It was a good trip all the way around, even though, we didn't get an opportunity to shoot a turkey. It was still a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, you gave them the teaser, but you didn't explain it.
Uh-oh. What's that?
Prairie dog.
Something was shot.
Oh, darn it. Well, thanks for manning up, Dale. Thanks for manning up. Yeah, the rancher has some prairie dogs that are...
Not a lot of them, but a few.
They're floating around on his property, and we decided to bring with a 17 and a 223 and see if we could get some shots off at a couple prairie dogs. And Jerome spotted them. Jerome had the 17, and Dale had the 223. They were out about, I would say, a good 150 yards or so. Would that be accurate?
I felt it was outside of my 17 HMR range, so that's why I said Dale.
We didn't range them, so.
Yeah,
so
a little far for me.
I had the video camera rolling, and Dale wound up and he took a crack, and I don't know. Like I said, I'll put it on social media. You guys be the judge. Do you think the prairie dog was hit? Do you think he was wounded? Or do you think it was a clean miss? Because there was a lot of things going on that you guys should check out, and you guys be the judge. I know what my thoughts are. I don't want to persuade you guys in one way or the other. I know Dale's thoughts on it. He feels firmly about a good hit, a killing hit. Maybe it just wasn't at the scene of the crime, So
Well, he was sitting right up on this hole, so
he might be hurting and he might be still digging. So we'll leave that up to you guys to decide. But yeah, it was pretty fun going out there and kind of just sitting there waiting for some prairie dogs to pop their heads up and get a couple shots off. But yeah, that was fun. It was a good time. Like you said, Jerome, even though we didn't get anything, it was a success going out there. We learned a lot for this upcoming year. We made some adjustments for deer hunting.
Got a couple more stand sites that we picked out, and yeah,
it's each year. I think we're just going to continue to get better out there as far as deer hunting goes. As far as turkey hunting goes, well, there's got to be turkeys on the property in order to get a crack at something. We had a couple. We just kind of messed up a little bit, and I'll take the blame for that. But I just wanted to give a little shout out to our significant others as well for allowing us to come out here and take care of chores back at home. And I know being that there's going to be some changes for some of us this upcoming year.
Another one.
I know some people in this truck right now are going to have more of an opportunity to get out to South Dakota multiple times this fall. Yes, if their significant other is okay with that. You might be paying rent out this year. Who knows? So, all right, guys, we're going to shut this down. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the support you guys give us. And like I said, good luck to you guys and gals out there turkey hunting this year. Shoot straight, be safe, and have fun. We'll talk to you guys later.
Take care.
Hey, thanks for listening this week, you guys. Truly do appreciate it. We got turkeys everywhere. I'm doing the outro here right now, and we're just continuing to see turkeys everywhere. I'm fired up for the turkey season right now. Right now I'm looking at 7 different gobblers right in front of me. I'm hoping you guys are excited too. So with that, I'm just going to shut her down here and thank our partners, Arctic Shield, Domain Outdoors, J&R Outdoors, Skullcraft, The Fish Guide, Tacticam, and Fourth Arrow Camera Arms. Like I said, good luck everyone out there. Enjoy it, be safe, and until next time, have a great day.